Hi there, wonderful friends, it's Evelyn here, and welcome back to my very own little creative corner of the internet. Now, as you might be able to tell, my friends, from the shades and the beautiful flowers and the sunshine, summer might finally be here. Thank goodness. And so with that, here at Adore Towers, that means some summer sewing. So I'm finally going to be cutting into that stunning Broderie Anglaise fabric that I featured recently here on the channel. I'll pop a card above to that video, my friends. But let's get to some creating. And if you haven't done so, please remember to hit that all important subscribe button. Come on, let's get to some summer sewing. Look at these roses. Just beautiful. I love summer. So it's finally time to use that stunning Broderie Anglaise fabric. And I've gone for this, the Rosalie shirt dress, which is available free online from the Mood Society website. I'll make sure to pop a link in the description box. And the first thing I need to do is get that pattern printed out and taped together, and then cut out all of my fabric pieces. Right, all of my pattern pieces have been cut out in that gorgeous Broderie Anglaise fabric. Now, I've sewn collar stands before, but I probably can count the amount of times I've done that on one hand. So it's then, my friends, that the trusty library of sewing books comes into play, including this one here. Dressmaking Made Simple. Now this book is from 1974. It was a thrifting find. It cost me 20 pence and the binding is completely shot. Pages are falling out everywhere. So I'm definitely going to have to fix it at some point, but check this out. I love having books like this in my sewing arsenal because if I struggle with remembering how something is put together, books, yeah, they are my go-to. I am a very visual learner. Sometimes the TISM wants video, sometimes it wants printed materials. Today, it wants printed materials, so I've grabbed this book and just look at this, it's amazing. So, time to get sewing, my friends, with a little bit of help from this wonderful book. So, armed with that trusty book, that stand collar was the first thing on my list. And even if I do say so myself, what a beautiful collar it turned out to be. Button stand facings and darts were the next task. Before the shoulder and side seams of the dress are pinned and sewn. And I've chosen to create a sleeveless version today, meaning that this dress is even quicker to create and even more summer weather friendly. It is the end of my first day sewing with this gorgeous Broderie Anglaise and sewing this shirt dress. And my friends, this is how it's looking on Betty. Excuse me. I love this. It's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So I've just pinned the collar on at the moment, and then I've finished that facing by folding it to the inside and top stitching it in place. I've also created that waist tie, and actually, shock horror, I haven't used the pocket piece on this particular version because the fabric is quite sheer, so I will be wearing a slip underneath, but I just didn't want the pockets showing through. So shock horror, this dress doesn't have pockets. And as a pocket obsessed person, that is very rare. So tomorrow will be all about attaching that collar, sewing those buttons and buttonholes on, and then finishing the seams and the armholes here. So I think what I'm going to do is, I've got a big reel of white bias binding here, and I'm going to use it to finish the armhole and the arm side, but I'm also going to use it over the seam allowances on the shoulder and side seams, just to give that a really neat finish and to prevent any possible fraying. And then I will top stitch at either side to make it look like a decorative stitch, just like this gorgeous one around the collar. How neat and tidy is that? I'm actually really proud of that. I can see a lot more of these dresses in my wardrobe, particularly since I've got a lot of cotton fabric in my fabric stash that's currently sort of sat doing nothing, and this has been a real pleasure to create. So fingers crossed for another great sewing day tomorrow, my friends. Day 2 sewing began by using that bias tape to neaten and finish the shoulder and side seams, trimming down the seam allowances and stitching bias tape over them, creating some beautiful top stitching on the right side of the garment. Then that collar is pinned and then stitched in place. I then employed that same bias tape to finish the armholes, stitching it to the edge all around the arm side on the right side of the garment before flipping the tape to the inside and top stitching in place for a wonderfully neat finish. Then it was time for buttonholes, which I'm pleased to say my Netchi NM2000 handled with no problems whatsoever. No chewed fabric today. Sewing on shirt buttons and hemming were all that was left. It's reveal time. Well, my friends, what a successful sewing journey this has been. I absolutely love this shirt dress. One thing I might change next time though is to make the skirt a little bit fuller, just so it's even more comfy to wear. But I absolutely adore the fabric, and this definitely will not be the last time I create this pattern. But until next time, when I'll be creating a gorgeous summer skirt, my friends, be sure to stay tuned for that. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye, friends.